Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy award-winning TV producer Chris Cangilla. This episode recapping week 2 of January 2024, and it is a snowy day in the Chicago area. My 3 children are home right now. One is still sleeping, the youngest, thank God, so we can do a podcast. Chris, I know it's snowy by you. We heard Sam talk about snow. You even have a snow story, I believe.
Yeah, they were talking about driving in the snow and the challenges there, so, and how the difference would be like, and you've experienced this too, like New York City won't get snow, but out, where Sam lives, which is a little further out, they'll get snow. And that's true for us because we're out in the suburbs. And I was driving to Colorado with the family when they were younger. The kids were probably, 10, 11, 12, something like that. And we drove out to Colorado, and then we decided to go up in the mountains, and they got hit with a storm. And Berthoud Pass is where you would go over to get to Winter Park, Colorado. So I drove up there, and it was icy. So driving back over the pass, and it was really scary. I put my hazards on, and I was going like 15 miles an hour. Now, I grew up in Colorado. I know how to drive in the snow, but boy, was I scared. And I was never more thankful to have Illinois plates on my car than Colorado plates. So everybody behind me that was mad at me because I was going so slow, they're just mad at some guy from Illinois, not a true Colorado native. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's just when there's a little bit, I'm not scared to drive in it, but there seems to be a lot today. And luckily, it was the grocery store yesterday. I don't think we're going anywhere.
No.
Got a frozen pizza ready to go. You know who tried to be ready to go that they talked about a lot early in the week, Monday, of course, after the Golden Globes. Joe Coy had been on the show. I think he was on recently. He's definitely
Yeah.
on Jim and Sam within the past year. And they're in a discussion. There's kind of 2 schools of thought at one point. There was the maybe 2 moments where Joe Coy is like, I know some of these I wrote, some I didn't. I met Joe Coy one time at Zany's in Chicago when I was doing stand-up. I was checking out he was in a Just for Laughs TBS taping, and he was a great set, killed, and told him good set after. He's like, oh, thanks a lot, man. Seemed like a nice guy, and seems like when he's on their show and other shows. But to Sam's point, where how can you shouldn't throw a writer under the bus. I actually don't know where I land. I'll see where you land, because Jim and me doing stand up for a while, and always appreciating Jim's input that, like, hey, when you're up there and I have had horrible bombs. And you do feel like you need some kind of life raft and something to move, either get a laugh or move it along. So sometimes you just say stuff to try to do that. So maybe I agree more with Jim, but also if I'm a writer, I'm like, dude, just like say another joke or do some other kind of crowd work, right? So where do you
Yeah.
fall
I,
on that?
I was in the camp of, man, don't throw your writers on the bus, until I heard Jim talk about it a little bit more. And it made me think about it. Yeah. You know, it happens in sports all the time, right? Where if you're a receiver and the quarterback doesn't find you, you don't say anything. You don't say anything until it gets to be too much. And then you're like, yeah, I thought I was open, but, I guess he didn't have enough time to get to me. And that's the same type of thing I think about the writers and your support staff. You're just trying to find a way to get out of the mess you're in. We do it in life. We throw people on the bus and we blame other people. Maybe you take a little bit more ownership. I don't know. It's a tough one because being support people like you and I have been in our careers, yeah, it's not easy when people, blame the material and not the performance.
Right, right. And I like your analogy too, because you can kind of use that to say we're like, even if something's said in the locker room, like, oh, you should have thrown it here or there. Gronk, when I interviewed Gronk the second time recently, told me that something Belichick had told him was that you never throw anyone, your teammates, or maybe even said the organization, under the bus. So you wouldn't, in your analogy, you definitely wouldn't say that publicly, which obviously Golden Globes is a very public thing.
Very public, yeah.
So yeah, I do like your analogy there. And this, I was lucky enough to write a few jokes for Norm Macdonald on his YouTube show. Eddie Norm Talk, in my opinion, the funniest comedian ever live. And Jim Norton is the funniest comedian alive. When Norm was alive, I told Jim, I go, you and Norm are the 2 funniest comics ever right now. But they led them to talk about the ESPYs joke. And
Right.
my God, the do you know how
Oh
the joke
yeah.
went?
Yeah, it was great. And it was so true. Yeah, he was talking to I can't remember the player, but he was a defensive player that won the Heisman.
Woodson.
Yeah, Woodson, exactly. And and he said to him, It's great to have him here. You can't really take away that award from you unless you kill your wife in a waiter. And
Well,
just how Jim kind of broke it down, saying how good it was because he didn't say, Ron Goldman is he just a waiter, and that
I
was
love how
really
Sam
kind of
broke it
funny. Just
down.
Sam did that. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Both of them really get
yeah.
the craftiness of the joke, and that was pretty cool.
Again, just another example how Sam's learned so much from comics.
Absolutely.
I I was actually at oh God, what do you call it? Their chicken
Yep, I'll help
place.
you.
Sam's chicken place.
Oh, Slim Chick, Slim. No, I'm sorry.
I'll think of it. I'll think of it later.
All right, it'll come to us later.
Anyways, I did a little drive through for a nuggie sandwich at the chicken establishment while Sam was breaking this joke down. So I remember pretty vividly. But that's another example of how his mind, he's kind of his works, and he's learned so much from comics. But oh my God, like no, you'll never have another delivery like Norm. I love when they play his clips.
Yep.
Like,
And then
never, never,
and
never take it away from you. Never,
yeah,
unless
he was amazing and
that's
and
great.
not held up to high standards as he should have been. And sometimes even his Burt Reynolds when they're doing
Yeah,
the Saturday Night Live Jeopardy sketch, I
yeah.
thought was incredible. Yeah, and then
Raising
Gaff
Canes,
Raising Canes. Thank
Canes.
God. You should never lean on the guy that's 10 years, 15 years older than you because
But you
I'm
gotta.
never gonna get it.
That should be one of our next meetings for
Yes, we definitely
show
for sure for
discussion.
lunch. Absolutely. I'll bring you some gifts too.
Oh,
But yeah, Gaffigan kind of also had a great joke in there where he was talking about, hey, I can't believe that I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm from a small town in Indiana and I'm not a pedophile, which was
uh,
great. It's like Ricky Gervais almost from a Gaffigan, which was awesome.
it was. You do not expect that from a totally like clean
Clean.
comic.
Yep,
Worked
yep.
clean his whole career. Like you hear him like talk like everyone else in interviews and maybe on his show or something. But yeah, you did not expect that. And again, perfect delivery. I was cracking up when I heard that because I did not see that coming.
Right.
Uh, they've been keeping the listeners posted with everything going on the Pat McAfee show. And I know you're a Barstool fan. I'm kind of becoming one actually lately. They have a great social media person or persons. I don't know who does it,
Yeah,
but
it's a large
good stuff and
organization.
very funny. But what I want to say is that I appreciate. I started watching McAfee probably in the last year. Usually have it on during the day when I'm working his ESPN show, and I appreciate his enthusiasm. Especially he's trying. You can tell there's an effort. Even if they told him something, he's doing more than he has to about trying to put hockey on the map because ESPN, last few years had a hockey contract where they have some of the games on ESPN, ESPN Plus, and even Disney with ABC. So there's a push there, but he is breaking down why it's awesome, and I just appreciate it. And we it was reported that he's paying Aaron Rodgers for Rodgers to come on. I think like 2 million an episode or something like crazy.
Something crazy, yeah.
But with the Jimmy Kimmel scandal that I think we talked about last week, they tried to there was they tried to like sabotage McAfee's show. They tried to boot Rodgers, and Rodgers came back. Jim and Sam didn't get to talk about this. He came back yesterday, I think. After
Yeah, yeah. It was kind of interesting that McAfee kind of went after the exec that
yes,
allegedly sabotaged the show for ESPN, and we talked about that I think last week where he has nothing to lose. He has yes, it's a lot of
right,
money that he's on ESPN, but he'll just go back to doing a
yeah,
show he did
it's good.
before. But yeah, the thing with Rogers and Kimmel we talked about as well. I do believe though, and I'm not sure on this, but some things that I saw is that ESPN has said that Rogers no longer going to be on the show, and that that's going to happen. So we'll see how that
Yeah.
pans out. I wasn't sure if exactly if that you know you see stuff on Twitter, you're not sure if it's a parody account. Sometimes we get
Right, right.
fooled,
Yeah, check
and so
those.
yeah, we'll have to double check that as it comes around. But yeah, it's a tough situation, and I think that. I just went a little bit too far, and I think where it reached McAfee's level of like, okay, we're done with this, is when Rogers went, after Fauci and all that kind of stuff. It's like this is a sports show. Let's get it back to sports, and
Yeah,
so
I'm
we'll
fine
see
with
how that
that.
plays out. Yep.
And I laugh and can appreciate when someone's making other people uncomfortable. I do kind of dig that, but it's kind of like a recurring thing. And I mean, look, one of the best quarterbacks ever. I'd rather hear his take on kind of what's going
I'll tell
on.
you what, it's so hard because I'm a huge Rogers fan
Yeah,
because he, of course, he went to Cal, which my son's favorite, school, and so, we loved him from that. He's funny. He's a competitor. I watched Hard Takes. Is it Hard Take? what's it? Hard Knocks. Excuse
Hard
me, Hard
Knocks.
Knocks.
Yeah, yeah.
This this past
Last
season,
season.
and he was on there, and he was really good, and he's a hardworking competitor. So I like his play, and I like he's a good teammate and that kind of stuff. But sometimes he goes off the rails, and it gets a little weird.
A bit. So this conversation, and again, they've been keeping us posted with McAfee. Sam has, I think, broadcasted with McAfee, WWE related, so he knows.
Let me ask you this. I remember a story, and I'm not sure, and someone will clear this up for us. Did Pat help Sam change a tire? Was that the story that Sam wasn't man enough to change a tire? And
No,
who was that?
no, it was a guy either at Sirius or just in New York radio that
Okay.
yeah, I remember the story. I think I listened to that episode twice, maybe.
Yeah.
I remember that story. I think it was a hilarious story. But
Yeah, I just couldn't. I thought it was Pat, and in my mind, it's always been Pat. But anyway, yeah, you're talking about how they're talking about sports commentary,
right,
and commentators,
Yeah.
and they were, Jim was bashing them, which was really funny. He's like, sports commentators, who cares what they think and about stuff? They don't know, we don't care what they think. And Sam's like, Jim, we should probably back that up a little bit because people listen to us for our take. So who cares what we
Why they're
think
listening
about
to
stuff?
Jim and Sam for their take? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
If
Why
something big happens in news and is a little funny or a little
Yeah.
like, oh, that's nonsense. I can't wait to hear their opinion.
Yeah, so it's the same thing with the people that love sports. You want to hear your friends, even though they're not your friends, but your friends on the radio talk about things that you are interested in. So that was kind of funny. So they got into the whole Chris Mad Dog Russo and the Francesa, which we love, right?
Oh, it's
And
awesome.
then Montone got into how he hates this fan producer, and we'll get into that a little bit because he tweets nonstop about having hot takes on stuff like he's a host or something. We'll get into it now. Then we found out that guy's name is Sean, I guess, and he's actually at like the third mic, and he got a hold of Sam and was very cool about the beating he got. He's like, why does Travis hate me? And Montone is beating me up here. So that was quite funny. But they had some really cool takes on sport commentators and how they do stuff. So
yeah, I forgot to add that in our rundown. I know Sean.
Oh, you do?
Very nice. Seems like a very nice guy. But
yeah, he did.
Email of like, hey man, they're Jim and Sam are dogging you. Our guys.
He handled it perfectly. He's like, hey guys, I'm not a producer.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, it was great.
Totally.
And he wasn't butt hurt, as we call it sometimes.
Yes,
he understood that they're just, making radio and stuff. And then, it's cool for Sam to bring it back up. He could just let it not come back. And like, that was a good radio bit. We're not going to pull the screen back, but that was awesome.
No, I agree. I think to Jim's point, I think some guys really overdo it with like the fake voice with the sports broadcaster commentating. And I think, I think starting to open up more to Barstool, as I said, I think the guys can be very funny. And I like when they create something and get it going and piss people off. But the truth is a lot of them are guys that have never been in a locker room. And when you sense that with a commentator, their takes and their opinion kind of goes down. And then there's the people who just say something just to say something. That's their job. Like Stephen A. I'll never be a fan of Stephen A. It's all
or
so
Skip
much of it's
Bayless.
manufactured. It's not.
Yeah, Skip Bayless is the worst for me. I just saw a video where he takes off his Dallas jersey and he throws it in the garbage can. It was just so produced and so stupid. So but switching back to part of my take in Barstool, why I like the show, it's Big Cat and PFT. When they get the people in there and they interview them, they ask the questions that we want to ask. It's and kind of like Coach, we saw you picking your nose on that sidelines.
No, that's good.
Yeah, those kind of things where they'll just ask them honest questions. But I mean, there's sports questions, of course, in there too. But it's just stuff that they kind of disarm these guys. It's a lot like Jim and Sam, where they, Jim and Sam will come at a guest not saying no. So tell us what it was like to work on this show. I'll be like, hey, when you're working on that show, you worked with this guy. Was he really a jerk? That kind of stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. And I think Pardon My Take was the first show to have on the girl who went viral for yelling, like, this MFer is not real on the airplane. Tiffany Gomez.
Yes.
Or Gomez, however you say her name. But they had her on it. I thought they did a very good interview.
Yeah, they do a good job.
All right. Moving along here. It was a nightmare scenario for Airplane Jimmy to hear about what happened on the Portland flight. It was a Boeing 747 MAX. It's been in the news like every day this week because now they're kind of looking into how it happened. Obviously, it might be some kind of lawsuit. But yeah, from the exit door, the window came off, or not the whole door, but like a lot of the window kind of.
Well, what happens is, and I love finding out more about this stuff. So this is the Max 9. The Max 8 is the one that crashed. That was a version that crashed. All of them are these Max 737s, I believe. And the one that had the issue from the Alaska Airlines. So, you know, you've been in the exit row where that is a door. But if they want to get more seating in these new planes, they don't have to use that exit door again further back on the plane. What they do is on the fuselage, which is the, you know, the main part of the plane, they cut out that door if they want, if you know, Boeing does, if
Okay.
airlines wants to use it as a door. But if they don't, they already have it cut out. So they put in what's kind of like a fake door. They call it a door plug. So they put in this door plug, which
Right.
has a window in it,
Yeah.
and that whole door plug and the window came out. So it just terrifies Jimmy. He doesn't, yeah, he'll, if he knows that he's going to be on a Max, he will not fly on a Max. Now, granted, they're not flying right now anyway. But yeah, we have a friend who's a flight attendant, and she wasn't on any flights recently because of that whole thing. She
Wow.
works for United, and the Max is out there. But the best story and the best thing that came out of that whole thing, right, is when they're talking about there could be a gentleman, though. If this happened to, you know, a certain gentleman in first class, you know, somebody might be wearing, I don't know, sweatpants and has a, you know, maybe that would get ripped off of him and leave him unexposed. Because I guess in the Alaska Air one, a teenager's shirt actually came off of him
Yes.
on that scare. So that was hilarious, right?
Yes, absolutely. As we know, Jim likes to fly sans undergarments, no underpants.
Commando, if you will.
So Sam was saying if those sweatpants got sucked off, I believe he said, "Would you be cupping yourself or something like?" And that was absolutely hilarious.
Well,
And
he's had some experience in how that works. So
yes, he has. And also, I got to credit you. I think you could be a talking head on CNN breaking down this whole thing. That was a great
yeah,
breakdown. I think you got it in you.
little news still left in me
Little
from the
expert.
former
And then you
days.
could just kind of segue into the gym situation. Like for instance, if someone's not wearing underpants,
Yeah, really that would be great.
and they play it on the show.
Oh,
No,
geez.
and then also that led to a real life scenario at Sirius XM. Jim just kind of honestly said, "Yeah, I might take my underpants off here before getting on my flight because he's going out of town for a gig."
Oh,
So,
geez.
is that an HR issue? Excuse me, sir. Are you
Yeah,
removing your underpants and then walking around
yeah. If he's got,
building
you know,
here?
something happens in the bathroom, but yeah, he's going commando on these old sweatpants.
Dude, he's
So
an interesting guy. And yeah, I had said I wanted to work something in here while we're talking about Jim. I just caught up on the last two, Friday when we record. So Thursday night, I finally caught up on the last two episodes of Nikki and Jim in New York. That's their YouTube page, their web series. My God, man. What I tweeted this last night that if there's not a bidding war going on like between and with streamers to get that footage and create more for like a reality show with Jim and Nikki. Like, I don't know what's going on like that. He always says that about Voss and Bonnie, which I still agree with. They should
yeah.
have a show. But my God, Nikki and Jim, man, wow, so funny and interesting. The colonoscopy video, he's so out of it
Oh,
after the
yeah.
propofol, and he's hilarious. He's
Uh,
so funny.
So
Saray's
hilarious.
doing awesome.
He's telling people that he's not sick. He, you know, on the street he had a colonoscopy, and people don't really care at all. Yeah, you know, they are a very interesting couple.
Yes.
No, I don't think I know of any ones that are, somebody's married to a transgender
Right.
person that is out there in the public and so free to talk about everything that's going on. So if they don't get their own really reality show on cable television, pair them up with Bonnie and Rich and do, married couples, comedians married to, other people, and they could split the time. And I want to see more. I enjoy it so much. Saray is doing a great job in shooting. I mean, she really doesn't have a lot of experience in there, but you
And
never,
editing,
yeah,
it looks very. That's what made me think like, wow, this one of the things that made me think, wow, this should be a show. Is Soraya is doing such a good job with what she keeps, and you know all about editing and shooting stuff. Like
well,
that's what
what
she's
I,
doing.
what I've thought about when I watch these things is like, I'm looking for it, but most people are going, if you don't notice that it's well shot, okay,
Yeah,
then it's good. If you notice it's a good story, then it is well shot. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
She's doing a great job. She's capturing it. She's in focus. It's well lit. Everything that she's doing is natural, and she's good at it. So
Yes,
I'm glad that she's kind of found her niche, and I hope she gets to do more stuff.
she's very good. And last thing on this, I just think that how good it is now is making me think of how calculated and smart Jim was with the announcement because we know he held in the marriage news for years, as Iraq would say.
Years, years.
Years. But I mean, yeah, to say, say we're gonna put out this kind of web series and I'll talk about it later. I mean, so smart and yeah, it was such a good move by Jim to do that, and the show is outstanding. Everyone should check it out. I mean, it should be a series. But
Absolutely.
speaking of videos that really kind of catch your eye and make you think, I love a good Jim and Sam video breakdown. And there was an old video of New York Mayor Eric Adams doing like a faux children's room search, and literally like everything in a kid's room he would say that something horrible could be there, and then it was there, like in this jewelry box you could have a gun. Behind this picture
Yeah, it's
frame you could have bullets. But he's also like kept terribly misspeaking. He's a high government official. Shows why things are the way they are in our country. And Sam's favorite part was the popular knapsack, and this
yeah,
popular knapsack could be a crack pipe.
right. It just was so weird. It's some video, I think, to help parents, what to look for if
Yeah.
your kids are straying and, searching their bedroom as you should, they say, because it's your house and it's your stuff. And yeah, I get that. But yeah, the video was either rushed,
So funny.
not really produced well because he was saying words. He even said secrete when he meant to say secret
Yeah.
in this secret place. What? It's like he's like looking at a script and then it was hilarious, and they were doing a great job of breaking it down and the stuff. And Sam does a good voice too. He was like, if you look inside here, you will see a 45 Magnum. It's like, what?
You might have to be careful. You might have to be careful with that. But no,
Yeah.
I want to give him credit because he carried that. Jim got a little quiet because Jim had to go potty. So
Yeah.
Jim was a little quiet, and Sam really carried that and had great takes and pointed stuff out. Like you said, did a voice. It was great.
Yeah.
Jim had to go bathroom, as they say.
Yeah, he had to go bathroom in the middle of the
Bathroom.
bit. I mean, Jim's got to go see somebody because
Oh
holy
man.
smokes,
Oh,
he just killed that bit because he had to go really bad. But yeah, Sam was perfect on it, and that led, and it led to later in the week, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But on Thursday's show, when Jim wasn't there and DeRosa was, they went for a long time
yeah,
before taking a break.
yeah.
And I saw Miguel, our friend with Jim and Sam Dank Means, put
That's
up that
great.
Jim, or with Jim out and doesn't have to take bathroom breaks. Sammy's gonna try to not go with he's gonna go commercial free while Jim's away because he'd have to worry about the bathroom breaks. But yeah, it was a long Thursday because Jim didn't have to make bathroom, right?
No bathroom, no repeated bathroom trips
Yeah,
at Jim. We got an amazing surprise on Tuesday. This is something about Jim and Sam. I like when they have a good guest or somebody comes back, like you're not expecting, like you kind of don't know who's going to be on the show. I
right.
guess I've never really thought about that. We've not really talked about that. So when it's something like organic and great, and it's like, oh wow, that's awesome. So one of those things was DJ Who Kid on Tuesday. I mean, been years since we heard him. I think on I'm sure he did Jim and Sam, but I used to hear him a lot on Opie and Anthony. And he's I think he's 52 now.
Yeah,
He said, and so he's been through a divorce, and from DJing and working with G Unit and 50 Cent and all these rappers, he has like his incredible stories with working with people. He knew Michael Jackson, and like he had, so like when something would come up, like a news story, like the thing with that Diddy's into now, and they talked about Will and Jada, like he's got some info, and
well, that's the funniest thing
pretty
because
awesome.
Sam would even mention is like, yeah, Wu Kid has a lot of takes on this, and if someone said, "Oh yeah, I knew them and I worked with them," as they say nowadays, Wu Kid has the receipts, right? So he can show the pictures, he talks about it.
Yeah,
So his take on it is pretty factual, as far as we know.
right,
But he does have the receipts to prove that he was there, and oh my gosh, he's a little older, but he's still up to his same tricks, if you will, because he had an opportunity. He has a girlfriend, but he had an opportunity for some twins,
right.
and couldn't pass that up, and had the receipts and showed it to the guys, and so because of that, he had to take his girlfriend to Disney. Now, I don't know how many girlfriends would not just get up and leave, but hey, it worked for her.
And to be fair to Who Kid, even Jim said, we know how happy Jim is with Nikki, and we see it in the web series. He said he would blow up his marriage to have
Yes, he
twins.
did. Yes, he did.
And he also said he would pay for it. He just needs the opportunity.
Yeah.
Um, Jim, of course, joking, but going with the showing the video of the twins to the guys, he also showed it to his son, and it might be multiple children. I don't know. It was multiple. He at least said he sends
Yeah.
videos of his encounters to his
Well,
son.
while you're
So he
there for a
knows.
second, before you
Yeah.
finish that, he does have a son out there somewhere he talked about as well, because yeah, he knows that many years ago he did have a son, and he hasn't had contact with this son, and the son hasn't contacted him. So we'll see how that goes out too. But yes, talk about what you're going with
Yeah, yeah.
showing it to his children, his sext
That's what
texts.
Sam called it. It made me
Yeah,
laugh. Sam
yeah.
said, "You sexed your son."
That's so
So
crazy.
he just wants to show, and I guess the kid says that's awesome and whatever. He just wants
Jeez,
to prove what he's got going on to his kid.
I guess.
To each their own. To each their
Yes.
own. Also, some great. I mean, they had the whole show, so we got a lot
Right.
with what's going on with Who Kid and a lot of our typical Jim and Sam breakdowns that we love. I love that the Dead Giveaway music video came back and Who Kid got to hear it. I think for
Yeah,
the first time. That got stuck
yeah,
in my
he's
head for
never
two
seen
days.
it. Yeah, it was great. And he saw the whole thing, and he had such great takes on it. His Who Kid is free with his language, which is very cool because he can be. And Jim and Sam have to watch their steps sometimes. But yeah, he just had some great takes on that guy and the whole video. And then they ended with one of the new songs that Who Kid was DJing
Oh yeah, it's
on.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, so it
yeah,
was a good day with him for sure.
for sure. And then not a good day the other day for the SEC's Twitter getting hacked. And if you recall, Chris, I believe this led to some very good Travis Teft ribbing. Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, that was fantastic. So yeah, so they're talking about, and you know what? I'm going to hold that one because
Okay.
it's my line of the week.
I wouldn't want
But
you to say it early. Yeah.
I will say they had a lot of good takes about how can the SEC is it SEC or SCC?
I believe
Security
SEC.
Exchange Commission. Yeah, so SEC, because I always get that confused with the football, because football is also the.
Right, right, right.
So yeah, the Security Exchange Commission, they got hacked. How does this organization like that get hacked so much? And they were releasing that Bitcoin and all these EFTs, is that right? Are now free to trade and all these kind of weird. It
I
will be
believe it's
on
BFTs.
that whatever. Any of those things
Okay,
is
I'm
just
joking.
nuts.
That's something Jim likes to talk about.
Right.
Um, Speaking of BFTs, I believe Jim used that exact term to discuss a Miss Emily Pellegrini. I mean, Jim and Sam is the premier show to educate yourself on AI and its possibilities. They had Troy conjured up an AI photo of Jim and Sam. That looked pretty accurate, right, Chris?
Right. It looked no, it didn't look accurate, but it
Uh,
was hilarious and was
Very
perfect.
funny.
And he said, Troy's really good at this. He was typing in what, you got to say, two radio hosts, having fun and enjoying each other's company. Now, they did mention that Jim said, well, can you have two radio hosts that are angry at each other? Because I want to see what that, and they never got to it, which I
Right.
hope that Troy will get to it at some point. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But yeah, Troy discovered Emily Pellegrini, who is this AI generated woman that is not just photos, there's moving video of her, and Jim fell in love, right?
He did. It was amazing. One of my favorite parts of the week. He also slid into Emily's DMs, and I believe Emily like has a friend. I think she has a friend in some of her media.
Right.
I didn't give it. I didn't get. I can honestly say I did not give it a look yet. And I don't.
Yeah,
I don't know if you need to feel bad if you do because it's not.
it's not a real person. Well,
That
that's
as I
why
said,
Jim,
that MFR is not real.
right, and
So,
that's what Jim was getting into, is that he could say many things about this person and
yes.
not get in trouble
Yes.
because this person is not real. He said he was doing it to make his wife upset and poke her a little bit, but we all know that Jim probably enjoyed the DMing for himself as
And
well.
Nikki's a good sport too. But yeah, I think Jim joked about reaching out to Emily's friend. I want to say her name was Sarah. I don't know. So we'll see if he did that. Some kind of this may be a delightful kind of rap on AI. So kind of a pitfall, something bad is these ransom calls that people are. Do you remember do you remember anything with how that's kind of done? But I know people are kind of doing them before AI even.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit. If there's a lot of data out there of people's voices, so if there's a lot of kids using Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and they're doing "Hi guys" and da 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 da,
Yeah,
the bad people will take that voice,
right.
use it in AI to have them call home like, Mom, I'm in jail. Can you help me out? And all these things. So it's a scary thing. You're a dad. My daughter's,
Yeah.
in this world, in this era, and it's very scary. So you always have to do like, okay, so, have a question for that person, like, what was the name of da 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 da? Something that she wouldn't, an AI person wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's scary, man. It's part of, like you said, where Jim and Sam are bringing AI to us and talking about it, where it's great and funny, but it's also really scary. So, yeah, just be careful out there. Ask questions.
Yes. And I guess even before AI, I had a family story where this happened to an elder family member that somebody, not using AI, someone just called and said they had some information. Another family member said, oh, they're in trouble. They need money. You got to buy all these Apple gift cards. So the elder family member drove to a store and started buying them.
Oh, geez.
And then luckily the person at the store knew something was wrong and called the police, but AI might just make this scam easier. So yeah, be on the lookout if you hear or see anything like this. It is not legit to all our senior fans listening.
And
Um,
even guys Jim and I's age.
right. So there's been you like recurring hits or ongoing bits as we call them. A great one that's emerged, and this is one of those ones where things get played up for the air, but I don't know if this is at all.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Is Troy keeps accusing Travis of not not being like proud. I don't know if that's the right word, but like not being like proud enough. Like Troy's always saying, like, in this moment, and if they did this, I would just be like, oh my God, you're here and you're
Yeah.
amazing. And
Yeah.
I would weep. And we're dads, we're girl dads. Like
Yeah.
you have those moments for sure. But and it's another one where I don't know where I fall because Sam and Travis, maybe not the most emotional in touch with their emotions
Exactly.
guys, but they do have a point where it's like we can't just be sobbing all day every day. Like,
And it's not that. And you're talking to a guy that is a sobber. I'm the crier in
yeah,
the
yeah,
family. Like anything is emotional.
yeah,
I posted a video of my son and my daughter, and I was playing guitar and they're singing. I was weeping. I was like, "Come on,
yeah.
Chris,
Awesome.
man up a little bit." But yeah, yeah. Troy and Travis, or excuse me, excuse me, Travis and Sam, no heart, man. They are just robots at times. And Troy probably didn't have a heart maybe 20, 30 years ago when he was putting up legendary status. But he
Legendary.
he definitely didn't have that, hindering him from being emotional with Taylor Swift and all the things that are going on. So yeah, Troy is very proud, and that also comes from somebody who doesn't have kids yet, right? So I am extremely proud of my daughter when she's high jumping. I was extremely proud of my son when he's playing baseball in state and high school. So yeah, it was great. And I'm a crier, and I cry at little things. I cry at the big things. So when Troy is giving Travis a little grief, I can see how Travis can be that at times, but he posts all the time
Yeah,
about
that's
his
the thing I
daughter on
think for me
Instagram.
is it's everything time his daughter does anything and she's in track and like every meet or something he's posting a picture. So obviously they're going take her to Disney and
Yeah,
he's
I
taking
mean,
her to
he's a
like
he's a
daddy
he's
daughter
a he's a
dances. Like he's
very
obviously a
good,
very good dad.
very good dad, but I think that the emotional part is lacking at times that Troy wants to point out.
You might be right. No, my thing is I can like a movie or that when they do something like I might get a little like teary eyed, but I do react. My daughter was on this really good soccer team. Actually, they're gonna play again in the spring, so she'll be on this team again. And she only played for like a little bit, maybe a year. Yeah, 1 year before this year, and the other girls probably played a long time. They're very good.
Right.
So my daughter has not had a goal. A lot of times she's just kind of chasing the play. And I'm there with my parents watching her a few months ago, and she scores this amazing goal over the goalie's head into the side of the net. Very tough angle. Like anyone would have trouble. It's one of the best goals I've ever seen. And instead of weeping, I'm running down the sideline going, yes, yes. And everyone's like that's obviously terrible sportsmanship at a kid's game, but like, dude, I
I
was
have a
so
story like that
happy and
too.
proud. It was awesome.
So, so my son, when he was like 10 or 11, gets to pitch in a pretty big tournament game because we've gone through all our really high pitchers, and I was pumped for him to pitch. And he's doing great, but then he hits a kid.
Oh, no.
And I go, what? I did a Bull Durham line. I go, way to announce your presence with authority. That's
Oh,
what this, and this kid is actually pretty hurt. And I
Oh
was like,
no.
oh no. In the moment I was so pumped up. I'm like,
Oh my God.
and then the other, I was coaching too, and the other coaches looked at me like, dude, what are you? I'm like, oh God.
Is that the exact line from Bull Durham?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, announce your presence with authority. Like you are,
You're like any Bull Durham fans here.
yeah. It was, yeah. So
That may
stupid.
be my favorite Chris story.
Well,
Oh
there
my
you
God.
go.
You've
I
been
think
hiding
I'm
that.
red because of it. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's
I've embarrassed
outstanding.
myself plenty on this show, and you have not done it at
Oh,
all. I want to just share. I've
oh,
shown pictures of me when I was a kid. I've taken my teeth out that I
oh,
can
I
do,
have
all that
plenty.
stuff.
Then I
Yeah.
told a couple of little Scotty stories, embarrassing
Yeah.
things I
We
did
need
as a
more.
kid.
We
There's
need
more, a
more.
lot more. There's a
All
lot
right.
more. Um, and other things we learned about dads. It's not always all nice, is it, Chris? We had some from some guests this week, some really interesting stories. Mike Cannon had said he told a story before. I don't know if I remember this story, maybe that he punched his dad in the face, and I believe he stumbled from the kitchen into the living room, and it doesn't sound like they're on speaking terms. And then Chad Daniels, Kelsey Cook's boyfriend, had a similar experience, I believe.
Yeah, they talked about their dads not being the best guys in the world, and Chad talked about the first story, which was that his dad on Christmas was so mad at everybody that he took the Christmas tree with lights and all and tried to throw it out the door, and it was still plugged in, so it fell to the ground and smashed all the ornaments, and so they had to go to Sears, I think, and get
Yeah,
replacement ornaments. It was
right,
just it was a
right.
bad
Just
story,
like the
and
regular
then.
ornaments, yeah.
Yeah, and then he talks about how he punched his dad and when he was telling the story, he's like, when you're hitting a baseball and you square it up nicely and you know that you got all the wood on it, he goes, that's how this punch felt, that I got all of it. So there's a lot of stuff in there, and it really affects Mike as being a father and what he wants to change that, for his kids. And then Chad's story, holy smoke, man. His dad, I guess, stole his identity. His dad stole Chad's identity when he was a younger man. And ruined his credit, all that kind of stuff. Then I guess later in life, Chad had a two-sided dollar bill, like it was printed wrong, and his dad remembered that and wanted it back. And so that's when Chad said, "Yes, I'll give that to you, but you're never in our lives and again." So they don't know if he's alive, they don't know anything about him, but they don't want any touch, anything like that. And then before that happened, Chad mentioned that his dad also stole a friend who passed away in a motorcycle accident identity. So bad guys, man. And
Yeah,
poor guys. And that's probably why they're comedians, right? I know it's a
I think
stereotype,
so. I think
but yeah,
so. I'm wondering, did he mention like how much that would be worth, that error on
I
the
don't
dollar
know.
bill?
No,
That's really
no.
interesting.
Yeah.
Man.
But
So yes, so that made those guys some pretty interesting guests this week. Unfortunately, they had to endure all that from their fathers. But yeah,
exactly.
let's talk about who we think the best guest was. We had Who Kid, DJ Who Kid on Tuesday, we mentioned coming back. Hadn't been back in a long time. Chad Daniels, we just mentioned, like Cannon, we just mentioned, and then Joey Roses also joined on Thursday with Jim out, Joe DeRosa. They're almost the whole show. He's a little bit late, like got in like I want to say 8:30 or something ET. So yeah, heard about Joe. I thought Joe had some good breakdowns of like he got me a little pumped for, my kid's really into Baby Yoda. So he got me pumped
Hmm.
for the Mandalorian movie and some other Star Wars stuff, some other talking about Indiana Jones. I haven't finished Dial of Destiny. I like barely started it. So I got to see that. But some good pop culture talk with Joey Roses, I would say.
Yeah, I enjoyed all the guests pretty much.
Yeah.
Who Kid was good because we haven't seen him in a long time, and he was able to relive some of the moments and had the receipts that we talked about. Chad was great. Now Mike Cannon came in a little bit before Chad, so we started talking with him, and both those guys have really cool names for their specials. I can't remember exactly what Mike's was. I think it was like Comic on the Road or
Doing
you know,
comedy on the road.
doing comedy on the road. Perfect,
It's amazing.
perfect name.
I want that
Hilarious,
t-shirt.
great job. And he talked about trying to have a brother and sister for his son that already exists. So they're trying, and that may lead into how he really wants to be a dad, and he's really proud. But is he doing all these things for his kids to make himself feel good or to make his kid feel good? It was really funny.
Yeah.
And then he talked about a really bad psychedelic trip he had in Vegas on some mushrooms, and that was quite funny. And then Chad, his comedy special is Mixed Reviews, which is great. Another good name for a special or a tour, whatever that is. And yeah, he lives with Kelsey Cook now, I guess, in Minnesota. Is that right? Something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And had those great stories. He was awesome. And then Joey
Good.
D was in all day Thursday. They spent a little too long for me on the Stephen A. Smith, Cat Williams stuff. I mean, it took up hour and a half
Yeah,
talking
I
about
agree
that.
with you. And it also felt that way because I don't think Joe had like a real take on it. I think he was just kind of joking around. I don't think he was
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't stand that guy. Or, I don't think he was that I don't think Joey was Mr. Roses was that familiar with sports in general
No,
from some
yeah,
of
he was not
his
good on that.
breakdowns.
He was good, like you said, on the Star Wars and all the movies. I
Very
did
good.
enjoy him on
I
that.
enjoyed that. Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not a big DeRosa fan, and that first hour I was like, this is why I'm not a DeRosa fan. He said something about, he has this sandwich shop, and he said that,
I want to go there. Like it sounds great.
yeah, it does sound great, but the thing is, I guess Joe is living in Pennsylvania now, and Sam asked, so you come in there, he goes, well, I'm just kind of the face of it. Okay, but you
Yeah,
were
it's
the
in your
guy that
business.
we were bringing in the sandwiches and you wouldn't bring them in a certain way because you're worried about them being cold enough or warm enough. Remember how
Yeah.
they wouldn't do that?
Now you're the
So
face.
are you involved in it or are you just the face?
Yeah.
And that kind of defines DeRosa for me a little bit. I'm like, I put him over on that side of, okay, he's fine, but ugh,
That's interesting.
I didn't need a whole hour.
That's interesting. I think for me, why maybe it felt a little flat in the beginning, not just like the sports takes and his face comment for you, but I think that it's the thing we always talk about when Jim's not in. Sam is hilarious. Sam has great takes, but if you have someone in where you're not also incorporating Travis and Troy and Mike,
Right.
I mean,
Right.
how good was that a few weeks ago? That it was just them, and it was so
Right.
amazing.
And
So
then
I think you need another comic, or if
Sam
you're going
did
to
the
have Joe
whole,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's the whole Wednesday, second part of Wednesday, because Jim had to leave to get on a flight with Mike Cannon, right? It was Mike
Right.
Cannon and Sam and the boys for a little while. And
Yeah.
that was really good, man. That was good because
It was pretty good.
Mike matches, and you may not be a fan of Cannon as much as I might be, but he matches Sam's stuff and involves the guys in there. And he's weird enough that it's cool. I mean, no one matches Jim, of course. But
Yeah.
it was just I thought DeRosa wasn't giving as much as he could and didn't have a real take on things at times, and they just kept on going back to the same old take. And I was not happy with Thursday's show, to be quite honest with you. I was like, ugh, let's get through this one and let's
Okay. It
get back.
picked up steam for me. It did. It's not, it's not easy without
It's
as Jim
not
was saying,
always
it's
going
not
to
easy
be
without
home
Jim,
runs.
but
God knows we
when
don't hit home runs all the time here, right?
we do not. And our commenters let us know that
Yes,
immediately.
they do. Why would they
Reddit
want
always
it?
lets us know that.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just if you don't have Jim, I love just the guys on the show talking because they're such great personalities. They get along so well, have great takes.
Sure.
I think Joe needs another like almost like a seller or tough crowd comedian to go at him, and then Joe is smart and Joe has good
Yes,
burns and he
I
can go at
agree.
somebody. You kind of need that, I think.
Joe would be a
Whatever.
lot better if Jim was in the room with them for
All
sure.
right. So who is your best guest this week?
My best guess this week. Wow.
Not even
I
close
think
for me. Not
yeah,
even
it's
close.
gonna have to be Woo Kid because we
He's
haven't seen him
not
in a
even
long time in the
He was on
stories, right?
fire. Everything he
Yeah,
talked about is insane.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
great.
And he's just so out there, and he hasn't changed. You
I love it.
know,
Yeah.
yeah. Jim has changed. Troy has changed. Woo Kid, same guy.
Right, right. Very true. Very true. All right. Now let's go to our line of the week. Do you have some finalists or is there
I
one
have a
that stood out?
finalist, and then I have my best. So this finalist, and forgive me because it's a kind of a long setup.
Go
When
for it.
they're in with Chad and they're talking about how crappy Chad's dad was and stealing, all this identity and that kind of stuff. It was just easier, Chad said, to tell people that his dad was dead because then when people asked about, how's your dad? If he just tells them you're dead, they stop the question. But if you say, well, they want to know more, and he just didn't want to get into it. And then they started riffing about things that his dad has stolen over the years, right? He stole this, he stole that. And they talked about if listening to the radio, he might have stolen the Sirius XM account, right? And then Sam went back and had a great callback to when Chad's dad stole a rental car, right? Of Chad's. And Sam said, well, yeah, that's why his dad was, getting the rental car because he had the free trial. So he didn't have to steal Sirius XM. Now, rental cars don't have the free trials. It's new cars, but
Yeah.
still, I thought it was good. Sam was, had a callback, which I liked. But my
Yeah.
favorite one, which I alluded to earlier in
Right,
this
right.
show, was when they were talking about the SEC issue on Twitter. And it turns out that the SEC's Twitter account doesn't have a two-factor
Yes.
authentication.
Yes.
And Travis mentioned that the show account doesn't have a 2FA, you know? And Sam said, that's right. Travis doesn't like 2FAs. And Jim said, yeah, because he left the last letter off of his nickname. So everybody can fill in the blank there. Jim was quick to put that in there, and that's why Travis doesn't like 2FA. I like
Absolutely.
that one. You got one?
Well, I wonder if their password is just Comic 213 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Bosses. Absolutely.
I had a clear one, and I got to say, although Jim was fairly quiet during the Eric Adams breakdown because he had to go bathroom, he still came up with my line of the weekend there, where they're looking at all this stuff, and it's like gun, bullets, crack pipe, and it's a kid's room, and in the middle of it, Jim just goes, "Who is this awesome kid?" That was my line of the week. I thought it was hilarious. That was perfect.
Yeah,
But,
that was the best break of the whole show, was that Eric Adams thing, like you mentioned.
I listened to it like 3 times. It was so good.
For sure.
Yes, and I hope you guys listen to and watch this 3 times. We appreciate you listening and watching. Leave a comment. Fight with each other, whether you like what we say or not, or give your Jim and Sam takes. We appreciate everyone who watches and listens and comments and shares, and thank you guys for checking it out, and thank you, Chris, for everything you do.
Thank you, brother. And yeah, we want to hear everything, I guess. If there's infighting, there won't be infighting between us, hopefully, but if there's fighting out there over us, we're just happy that you're joining us here in the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not Doug Bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.